Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, on our website, or our social media. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the latest Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona ceramic bezel steel case, reference 116500LN lunette noire. 40 millimeters in diameter. The watch measures 12.4 millimeters thick, 46.5 millimeters from lug to lug if we're just counting the case, and 50.5 millimeters if we're including the projections of the solid end links, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on the wrist. It's comfortable, it's compact, it's flat, and with the white dial, it pops a little bit more than the black dial. There's more contrast here, and I will venture a guess that the registers are easier to read at a glance. You can already see that the constant seconds more intuitive to discern than if you had a polished hand against a black base. It's comfortable, it's flat, you can cuff it, it could be your dress watch. Especially with this white dial, it's a bit dressier than the black dial version. I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference because I've seen it worn that way. Taking a look at the hardware, it's the Oyster bracelet, 3 links, polished centers, satin finished outer flanks, polished faces, and you can see that removable links are fixed by screws. We've got an Oyster clasp right here with a lift lock system. You can see how that notches, and you lift and unlatch it. There's a beak and a hook internally. You double lock it when you lower the clamshell. Note there's a little kerf inside the clasp that allows you to dig your nail and to pop it open. It features an easy link 5 millimeter adjustment system. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one sizable link, but you can see that this is tool free. You don't need a screwdriver to do it. There are also 3 divots drilled internally inside the clasp. So with your strap tool, you can change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside of the clasp for fine-tuning the size. The internal of the swing arm is all of high polish, and that's generally a signature of the more upscale Rolex references. The Daytona case hasn't aged a day since this particular Daytona design bowed back in 1988. Now, the in-house caliber Daytona has been in production since 2000, but it has the same basic case shape, lines, and dimensions as the Zenith-powered automatic back in 1988, so this is an enduring shape. Screw-down crowns and chronograph pushers, 100 meters water-resistant. You have a Cerachrom bezel that's nice because it gives you a little bit of contrast with the dial here, as well as the case metal, but it also acts as a heat shield for the rest of the watch, as ceramic is very, very hard and scratch-resistant. Kind of like sapphire, it'll protect the rest of your watch from the blows, scratches, the scuffs of life on the wrist. Now, there is a tachymeter here, and you can use it in conjunction with the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object over a mile or a kilometer. Your choice. It says units per hour, so miles and kilometers are not given. You can go SI or imperial. And then you have a dial of white gloss lacquer with black registers that are slightly sunken below the primary dial. You have black printing outboard, making it easier to read seconds and fractions of a second, and a white gold Rolex crown, white gold indices, white gold hands, all to resist tarnish and oxidation over time. And the watch has plenty of lume, which we will see at the end of the video. All of this is actuated by the caliber 4130. You can't see it under the case back because the case back is a typical Rolex screwed-in Oyster case back. Remember, 100 meters water resistant here. So the movement, 3-day power reserve, bidirectional automatic winding. It launched in 2000. It was one of the first Rolex movements to use a rotor bearing rather than a jeweled staff for the winding rotor, making it more shock resistant. The 44 jewel movement has a true 3-day power reserve. It's actually rated 2 hours more than the caliber 3235 and its derivatives. It does feature hacking or stop seconds, which means you pull the crown and it stops the balance. You can set the watch to the second. It features a vertical clutch and a column wheel. The vertical clutch ensures that the chronograph always starts without jump or stagger, and because of the vertical clutch, you can leave the chronograph running full time with no wear, tear, or hazard to the movement. That's an advantage of a vertical clutch. The column wheel system is crisp. You hear it, you feel it, and the 4130 has one of the best feeling column wheel actions in the business. Now, it beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's adjusted in 5 positions, and it earns a COSC chronometer certification. Rolex then tests it again as a fully cased up watch, not a bare movement, to make sure it runs no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per day. And that is the basis for the terminology superlative chronometer that you see on the dial. It's more than a chronometer. It also features a full balance bridge with a free-sprung index for shock resistance, and there is a blue oxidized niobium zirconium anti-magnetic hairspring Rolex calls Cerachrom blue, and that makes this watch water resistant, shock resistant, and anti-magnetic. It is also a remarkably versatile size and shape with a look that can wear with any attire. This might be the ultimate Rolex sports watch. If you think so, email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Rolex Daytona by night.